everybody, welcome to class tonight. Tonight we are going to be talking about meditative and breathing techniques. Webster defines meditation as an altered state of consciousness through controlled breathing and visualization. But what exactly does that mean? Meditation allows the physical consciousness to tap into that higher spiritual consciousness. That's very important if you're doing pagan practice. That allows you to have a pathway, a road to get to that openness, that higher divine self, all that divine energy that allows you to do the things like your magic and your meditations and your journeying and all those important things that we need to do to grow our own practice. So, how many of you have meditated before? Do you find it difficult to meditate? Do you think that it has to be exactly like A, B, and C? None of those things are correct. You have meditated even if you don't think you've meditated. You ever been driving down the road and you're a couple miles down the road than you thought you should be, and you wake up and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm already here. You've meditated. You have lapped out of this physical sense and tapped into that higher sense. You might have let your mind wander. That's a good thing. When you're drifting off to sleep, sometimes you do it. When you're in the bathtub, when you're washing dishes, there are all different places that you have meditated that you might not have realized. Now, if you're a pro meditating, awesome, keep it up. These are just a couple ways that I could cover a couple new ways that you might increase your meditations. I found doing them over the last week because I wanted to try them out and make sure that they worked and that you guys were getting not just book information, but also anything that I tried. I did find that it helped me relax a lot, which I definitely needed this week, so that was a good thing. So to get started tonight, I'm going to talk about a couple different techniques. You can use them as you can and, see what works for you. And then let us all know what worked for you, what didn't work for you. So first one, focused attention. This one deals with breathing. I start every single one of my meditations off by doing this technique. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to focus on your breathing. You're going to pick the one thing that you're doing that you're actually going to hone in on, blocking all the other thoughts that are going on and allowing this one to be the center of everything that you're doing. When I do breathing techniques, when I'm doing the focused attention meditation, is I allow the breath to come in through my nose. I pull down that diaphragm, filling up those lungs as much as I possibly can, and then I hold that breath for a little bit, maybe 4 to 7 seconds, maybe a little bit longer depending on how I'm feeling, and then I let that breath out through my mouth. I empty my lungs. I feel the diaphragm go back up. I feel the lungs shrink back into the chest, pulling in tight. So I'm going to show you how to do this one now. So biggest thing you do is you just sit back, you take the deep breath in. Filling all the way into your lungs, feel your chest rise with that breath, and then hold it. Allow that oxygen to exchange in the lungs, allow things to just be centered there, and then you let it go. Draining out your lungs, allowing you to have that just peacefulness that comes with it. I usually do this about 3 times before I start any meditation that I'm doing. So I'm going to do it 2 more times with you guys. So breathe in, hold, and breathe out. Breathe in, hold, breathe out. I almost feel like things fluffing off of you. You just feel a little bit more at peace, a little bit more centered. When you're doing focused attention, you don't need to just do it 3 times. You just focus on your breathing. You're just in and out. Just allow the air to come in and allow the air to go out. You're just focused in on that breathing. Anytime you get distracted away from anything that you're doing, say there's a noise, say there's a thought that comes up, just go back to that breathing. Feel that air come into your lungs. Feel that air enter out of your lungs. So just keep focusing on that breathing. So that's the first technique I have. The next one is called a body scan. And I kind of want you to picture like a photocopy in light when you're doing this one. So you're going to start with by doing the breathing, but at this point you're either going to start at your head or you're going to start at your feet depending on how you do it. I usually tend to start at my head, but that's, wherever you feel like starting. But you're almost going to run that light across your body slowly, allowing yourself just to breathe, allowing yourself just to pay attention. And what you should be doing is you're bringing attention any discomfort, any sensations, anywhere that aches, anywhere that you have tension. And when you find a spot like that, let the light center. Just focus in on whatever that tension is, whatever that pain is, whatever that like uncomfortableness that you might be feeling. And these can work for physical and emotional parts that are going on. So do pay attention to what's going on. So you run it over, say that you hurt your leg today and you're feeling really tight, like you did a little too much. And so all those muscles are tight. So I want you to center that light on those tight muscles. And I just want you to focus on them relaxing. I want you to physically feel yourself just in developing itself and allowing it to relax, and then scan another part of your body. Allow that light to just keep going down. When you're all finished, just kind of scan that light back across the body, releasing all the tensions, all the aches, anything that you have become aware of at this point. So that helps because it allows you to release any tension that you have. You might be feeling balled up, you might have had a hard day, and it allows you just to center and focus on that energy of relaxing and letting things go, which are really important things to do when you're meditating. It's really important that you let things go, that you don't harbor onto things and like allow them to consume your thoughts. So I say that, but our next technique is doing exactly that. It's called noting. So when you're doing noting, what you're doing is you are breathing, sitting quietly, and instead of pushing thoughts away when they come, you allow them to come and you pay attention to them. Why is this thought coming up? What is important to this thought? Is this thought worth my time? A lot of times we have things that spin around in our heads and we don't allow ourselves to actually think about them, so they just keep cycling and cycling and cycling. Instead of acknowledging the thought, really thinking about the thought. Is it a realistic thought? Is it something that is worth our time to pay attention to? And if it is, then allowing yourself to figure out a way to deal with that thought. And if it's not, allowing yourself to let that thought go. Giving yourself almost permission to say, you know what? This matters and this needs my attention, or this doesn't matter and it's not worth my attention. So this technique, like I said, is called noting. So allow yourself to go through your thought patterns, your tendencies, your conditionings, those type of things that need your attention. Because sometimes we do need to focus in on things. And this is important when you're doing higher meditations anyways, because a lot of times you'll get messages and the gods will give you something and they'll say, hey, this is important and you need to pay attention to it. And so you allow yourself to give yourself permission to think on that thought, to think on whatever that gift is, whatever that learned part is. Don't shy away from the things that sometimes scare us, sometimes that we don't want to think on. Becoming a more enlightened person is allowing yourself to step into the darkness, allowing yourself to deal with those things that might scare us. So, the next technique that I have, bear with me, visualization. So, visualization, a lot of people hear about this one. This is the one that you usually do hear about. So, you are focusing on a single thing, whether it be a tree or water. I'm prone to water, doing water energy workings only because it's very relaxing to me. So the thought of waves coming in on a beach and waves going out on a beach, allowing the waves to cycle and circle and then push back out, allowing the foam to dissipate on the beach, allowing that coming back in, hearing it crashing upon the shore, and then going back out. The visualization allows you to focus in on specific things instead of allowing random thoughts to go into your head. So when you're doing visualization, you're going to have random things that come into your head. Instead of focusing in on those, you allow those to drift back, and you allow yourself to focus back in on what you're trying to focus in on. So say that you're focusing on a tree. So you might grow that tree from the ground. So you're going to see the tree grow and spread its branches and start reaching out towards the sun. You're going to see the leaves starting to open up. You're seeing the roots bury deep down into the ground, and you're feeling that tree stretch from both ends. And you almost feel like your mind is doing that. Your mind is opening up. Your mind becomes these leaves that open up and seek whatever they're reaching out for. So allowing yourself to have visualizations, it's one way to get your mind focused on what you're trying to do. What you're doing at this point is you're allowing your mind just to relax. You're allowing things to come in easy, and you are pinpointed on one thing. So all the other extra noise kind of falls away at this point and allows you just to focus on what you're trying to focus in on, which is important when you're doing a lot of your pagan practice, because you want to focus in on what you're trying to do, not what external things are trying to do for you or to you. You're allowing yourself to build your own practice and be with yourself. Next one, I love doing this one. This one is called loving kindness. And what loving kindness does is you can either pick a person that you know or pick a person that you don't know and focus in on their face. Focus in on a group of people or a person specifically. Like today, I don't know, I'm feeling like I'm going to do grandma energy. I am going to focus in on grandmas, and I am just going to give love, gushing admiration to them, and just open yourself up. This is where you allow your heart to talk to your mind. What is important for you to be celebrating in love, that loving kindness, that goodwill that you push on not only just to other people, but to yourself. When you have loving kindness thoughts, you give yourself loveness and kindness back. And that is very important right now. I think a lot of us are forgetting to love ourselves and to allow ourselves to be in kindness with ourselves. So this is a great technique how to do this. So from there, you can do skillful compassion. And the difference between this is that you're focusing on a specific one person that you know, a specific person that you actually really want to either know better or you do know. So I also do skillful compassion when I'm working with my gods. I will think of either my goddess or my god, and I will spin this loving compassion, this skillful compassion to them, where I am all heart open, my mind open, just completely thinking of that one being, whether it be a living person, a person that has passed on, your ancestors, or your deities. So allowing just that open lovingness, just focused on that one person, just absolutely what loving message can I give them, can they give me, that we can pass back and forth. So that was skillful compassion. From there, you have resting awareness. Resting awareness is where you truly allow thoughts to enter in, and instead of pushing them away like you normally do, you allow them to come in, you acknowledge them, and then you release them. It's not like noting where you're like, okay, specifically what is that one thought, and I'm going to really focus down on that thought. It's, I feel you, I acknowledge you, I release you type of energy going on, where it's, you're not focused so much on your breath, and you're not so focused on just, doing body scanning or a specific person or anything like that. You're just like, I'm just going to allow the sound that's around me, whether it be birds or your family or water or whatever enters into your mind, and allowing that to go back out freely, where you're not putting stress on yourself to actually figure out anything, but you're also not allowing yourself to try to block out everything, where you're really just trying to say, hey, I acknowledge that, and that's fine, and I'm totally letting that go. That's just how that energy works. So that's really good, because that allows you, especially when you have other external noises going on, you're not like, oh, I totally blocked my concentration, I was totally in the meditative state, and I just, lost it. No, this allows you just, hey, things are going to happen. I'm going to hear sounds. Birds are going to chirp, and things are going to happen, and I'm just going to acknowledge it. I'm just going to let it go because I'm right back here. I'm right back in my consciousness. I'm right back in trying to set that pathway. So that really works. Another one is reflection. This is where you think back on something specifically that happened. I like to do this especially after I've done ritual, or I've done a special meeting with someone, I've had a special conversation with someone. What can I really focus in on? What can I remember from that? And what can I tap in and almost put my higher self in charge of what went on with that? So that's why I said like doing it with rituals really good, because you get to think back, okay, so at this point I had this, and I had this thought of gratitude, and I had this thought of thankfulness. And when I was feeling that thought of thankfulness, what feeling washes over me? You're tapping into that emotional thought of, what am I truly feeling when that happened, when I was thinking that, when I was being thankful, when I was full of gratitude? What do I truly feel about that? Who do I think about when I'm feeling that way? Who do I feel grateful for? Who do I feel thankful for during that ritual? What happened that made me open up and feel a little bit stronger for? So that's how this meditation works. So I like that one. There's a couple other meditations that you can do. There's Zen meditation. You can Google that and find thousands of things on that. But the biggest thing to remember, it's the Buddhist tradition, and it deals with breathing too. So you're going back to that breathing, like just feeling that energy come from you and allowing that breath meditation, just relaxing and allowing you to brush off whatever happened during the day. So there's a couple breathing techniques that you can do with Zen meditation. One is the lion, where you're pulling that in, and then you're like you're really pushing that breath out. So you're like almost like forcefully pushing that breath out, and you're feeling that breath leave your lungs and what that sensation feels like, and you're just focused in on that breathing. The other one is mantra. This is where you pick a syllable or a word, and you take the deep breath in, and then you say the word, and you allow it to extend out. So the biggest one that everybody always knows about is Om. So I'm going to do that one, but then I'll show you a different way that you can do one. So you take the deep breath in. And you say the syllable through the entire breath that you have. You'll feel it resonating in your chest, and depending on what word you use or what syllable you use, you'll feel it in different parts of your body. It's actually pretty interesting, especially when you pair it up with chakra energy and you do the mantra that fits each one of those. But let's pick a word. Let's pick the word love today. So I'm all about love today. I don't know why. So take the deep breath in. Really felt that one in my heart chakra, I know, but it just clears out. You're not thinking of anything at that point. You're just allowing yourself to be in that moment. You just feel that wash over you, and you just feel so much more peaceful afterwards. And that's the whole point of meditation, is that you are just more in that spiritual sense of yourself than you are that physical sense of yourself. So the next one that I have is called a sound bath, and you can see this all over the internet as well, and a couple people have just different instruments that they can use. I don't have a singing bowl, but I do have a big bell. You can use a gong, you can use a singing bowl, you can use a drum. The cello works really well as well, because it's that thing that resonates in your soul. So I'm going to show you really quick how I do it when I use my bell. You let it play all the way through its sound. It's already doing it. All right, you ready? And you just allow that peacefulness of when it goes through. You can do it again, and you just focus in on that tone. You focus in on the energy that's being released from the musical instrument or from the bowl that you're using, and you just allow it. You feel it almost in yourself, and you feel it not in a physical sense but a more spiritual sense, and it just kind of clears out the energy that's around you, allowing you just to have that sense of peace and energy. So once you've mastered how to do a meditation, see, I told you it's pretty easy. A lot of people think it's really difficult. It's really not. It's really just training yourself to be able to do with your mind what you want to do with your mind. So once you've figured out how to do that, and if you don't get it right off the bat, that's fine too, because everybody has their gifts. Everybody is special in their own way. Not everybody is a basketball star, and not everybody is a Zen Buddhist that can do meditation right off the bat. Some people have been doing this almost their entire lives, like me. My mom taught me when I was very, very young. She took me to the beach. That's probably why Elsewater works for me, and taught me how to meditate and taught me how to listen to myself, to listen to my higher self. So if you're just starting off the bat, you might be excellent at it. But if you're having a couple problems with it, that's okay too. Just stay at it. A lot of times what I do is I do the breathing techniques, or I do some of the simple noting meditations, those type of things, or the loving kindness one. I just spend a couple minutes a day doing it. I'm like, okay, I've got 5 minutes before I go into work. What am I going to think about today? And I kind of do it in my car sometimes, or when I first get up, I do it in my bed. I sit on the edge of my bed and I spend a moment doing these things. So meditation doesn't have to be like a half an hour, 2 hours long type of thing. But you might find that when you do meditation, you might think, wow, that was pretty quick. And then you look at your clock and a lot more time has gone by. That happens a lot of times too. Or the opposite, wow, I've been here forever, and you look and it's only been a minute. You're like, oh, I thought I was really doing that longer than I was. Meditation does that. So it's just important that you practice it all the time, that you try it every single day until you become more proficient at it. We are called to practice for a reason. It's not because you don't have to practice. You actually have to practice at what you're doing. You find people that are very good at it. They've been practicing for a very long time. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't work right away. And don't don't get discouraged if you are just having a hard time one day. Sometimes things get in the way and life becomes too busy. That's when you should try to meditate more. And that's when you should do the breathing one. It's just such a simple, tiny one that allows you just a couple minutes to allow yourself just to listen to yourself. So once you've mastered it, now you can start doing journeying. This is really fun to do when you've figured out how to listen to yourself. Now you can do guided meditation journeys, or you can do self-guided meditations. You can find something online. You can find all kinds of books. I have like 3 or 4 books that do this. Usually when you find a ritual, there's a meditation that goes with it. And that's a journey meditation. That's a guided meditation. So using those helps you pinpoint, allows your mind to travel down this road. And when you've come to the end of that journey, that's where you usually find the message. So you're using a lot of the visualization techniques, and you're allowing yourself to visualize yourself walking down that path to where you're going. And then once you get there, there's usually a message, and it's really cool sometimes when you figure out, wow, I got this really cool message. I wasn't expecting this, and then I got this, and it's not anything I expected. So using these techniques, using journeying to help you find hidden messages from yourself is a wonderful way to open up your practice. It's a wonderful way to try to expand what you're trying to accomplish with your practice. So I hope this has helped. Good luck meditating. I hope that the next time that you get a little stuck, that maybe a couple of these ideas will help you get past that. And remember, if you're doing anything and you find yourself getting a little off path, just go right back to the breathing. Just right here, right centered. I'm with me, and I'm trying to do things for myself. So good luck, and I hope you all are having a good week, and I will be back next week with a different class. I don't know quite I'm doing yet. It's almost Beltane, so I'm going to start getting into the Beltane energy. So good luck, everybody. I hope you have a great night and have a blessed bee day.